What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Lesser Athletes. My name is Chadwell, and today, like always, an interesting video for you here on the channel. Today is my card predictions for WrestleMania 42. I haven't had card predictions for WrestleMania 42 for a long while. The whole headset just fell off. Are you kidding me? That has happened for 2 videos in a row. You gotta love that, huh? Anyways, back to our regularly scheduled programming. The card prediction for WrestleMania 42. We have a lot of predictions in here, a lot that won't happen, a lot that could happen, a lot that I'm just literally throwing out and just seeing what could happen. And I just hit my microphone. Everything's going bad. My card predictions for WrestleMania 42, we're going to have our regular feuds to happen, and then we're going to have our championship matches. I think every championship is on here except for the women's tag titles because I just can't be bothered. I really just can't. We're going to talk about it, though, starting with what I think is going to be probably a big feud that could happen. It should be LA Knight versus Gunther. Now, I don't have them with titles or anything, which that itself could be a big prediction because I think LA Knight's 2026 year is probably the last year we can really say LA Knight could be a world champion because they just keep not giving him an opportunity. Gunther is someone that I think will lose. Oh my gosh. Will lose the championship sooner rather than later. So I'm going to throw LA Knight versus Gunther just out in the universe. Maybe it is with a championship and it's champion Gunther still. But LA Knight, to me, in my opinion, deserves a big feud, and Gunther's up there. Up next, we have Sami Zayn versus Aleister Black. I call this the throw two individuals that could be a babyface and a heel and just see what lands. Now, is this kind of reminiscent of a Karrion situation with Aleister Black and Sammy's being the Karrion Cross? Yes. If this headset breaks one more video, I think I guess I might just buy a new one. That's probably what I would do. Sami Zayn, though, I don't know at all what could happen with him if it's not a championship match. So I originally had him part of a championship match. I switched it off of it because, in my opinion, it's just crazy for me to predict that right now. But I think it's championship match or nothing. I don't know what Sami Zayn could do. Is it him turning heel and being with Jey Uso because of Karrion Kross's stuff? I really don't know. And I don't know what's going to happen for Aleister Black, to be completely honest with you. Up next is the retirement match of Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio. Rey's last opponent has to be Dominic Mysterio. I'm sorry, but it just has to be him, and it has to be Dominic getting a win on him. I think that's just the best case scenario. It should not be anybody else. And I really do believe it should be Dominic versus Rey. Maybe they do it at San Diego at Survivor Series. Maybe that is the final match, but I think that's way too close to John Cena's. So I'm going to say Dominic Mysterio versus Rey Mysterio. Retirement match happening in Vegas with Dominic Mysterio going over. Just think it makes sense, and I don't have Dominic with the IC title. Maybe it's a Dom versus Finn Balor match that I could see, but don't see Dom versus Rey. Up next, we have a triple threat because honestly, don't know what they could be doing if it's not a mid-card title or winning some like a Royal Rumble for Io Sky. I have Io Sky versus Kairi Sane versus Asuka. Now, I want this match to happen, especially Asuka versus Io Sky, and I think maybe there is something that between the three, something happens throughout the whole year, and it's a side story that happens, and ultimately we get Io Sky versus Kairi Sane versus Asuka to happen. I would really like it. I think a lot of people would also really like it. But again, this is another throw match. I think it could more likely just be Io Sky versus Asuka. It could be Io Sky versus Stephanie Fakir, but I just see the championships going a different route. I wanted to throw this just out there because, in my opinion, this is what I'm thinking, truthfully. Up next, we have Logan Paul versus Joe Hendry. So I wanted Joe Hendry to be on this card, truthfully. I debated Aleister Black. I debated Karrion Kross. Didn't have him. And obviously, there's going to be people that are going to debut and maybe they join in on the fun. But I kind of have Logan Paul versus Joe Hendry, with Logan Paul the heel against the babyface Joe Hendry, who could be WWE ready. I don't know how long is his contract, truthfully. But I think it's a babyface going against a heel, the social media aspect, the popularity aspect. This could be really good for TNA. And I think if Joe Hendry's still part of TNA, this makes a lot of sense. Truthfully, they really like it, and I want to see it happen. Up next, we have JC Mateo versus Solo Sikoa. No, I don't think Solo will have the U.S. title by then. I think he'll lose it here soon, honestly. I think JC Mateo could do better than this bloodline, and I think it would be interesting if we have another just bloodline going against a bloodline member, but I just see that in the cards. Maybe it's the Tongans versus Solo, JC, and somebody else, and it's a 3v3 match, but maybe it's I really don't know. And I think just more than likely it's going to be JC Mateo versus Solo Sikoa. I want JC Mateo to go on his own, and I would like a JC Mateo really just truthfully with you somehow, some way get into championship matches. I just don't think it's going to happen, but I still want to at least throw in this match as a potential. Up next, triple threat between Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and Bayley. Now, it would be crazy if Alexa Bliss is not here, and I kind of wanted to throw her in there to be like the 4 horsewomen, because a lot of people like to call Alexa Bliss the 5th one. Without Sasha Banks, you could try and rewrite history and throw in Alexa Bliss into there. Maybe it's the 4 going against each other, and maybe it's some crazy like number 1 contendership match. I could really see that. But I think, in my opinion, it is Charlotte Flair versus Becky versus Bayley, and these 3 going against each other because Becky and Bayley have their beef. Charlotte Flair somehow gets into it, and then the 3 have a big grudge match. And I think we've seen grudge matches work out very well, like Seth Roman and Punk, so I'd be interested in this one. Up next, we have championship matches, and this is why Alexa Bliss is in here. I think Julia is going to hold on to this championship, and I really hope it happens all the way till WrestleMania. I want her to be a dominant U.S. title holder. Now, maybe she doesn't win, or maybe she doesn't lose this match, but I really do believe Alexa Bliss is probably the best WrestleMania opponent for her. The over Alexa Bliss going against a heel Julia with the U.S. title. And then ultimately, maybe Bliss does win, and now you have main eventers going after this title, and people like Alexa Bliss, who seems to be, truthfully, up there with Rhea Ripley as the most over wrestler, could get this title, and now this title looks legitimate. I don't think they'll have the women's titles by then, and I really do believe that, in my opinion, this is the feud that I'm going to call, and I'm going to keep calling it because it just makes too much sense that this is going to be the WrestleMania match. Up next, Roxanne Perez versus Liv Morgan is a match that I am nonstop writing down. Truthfully writing down. I think we could go from Becky with the title to maybe Lyra, to maybe Bayley, to maybe a babyface, and then Roxanne Perez wins it. And then I think what's going to happen, it's going to be Roxanne versus Liv Morgan. I think we're going to see some Judgment Day members go against each other. That's why I almost debated on Finn versus Dominic Mysterio. But I really do believe that Liv Morgan is going to come back end of 2025, early 2026, and she's going to mark herself and show herself as somebody that is going to go after Roxanne Perez, who probably has gold around her waist with the IC title. And Liv Morgan will get herself on that IC title list. And I think, truthfully, will do wonders with it. Again, main eventers going for these titles will do wonders for them. And I think it's a good way to keep Liv Morgan with some gold and to keep this titles and the title, like the US, the IC titles, to keep growing. And I want a Roxanne Perez versus Liv Morgan feud, truthfully. And I think there's a lot that makes sense. She kind of replaced Liv Morgan, so we'll see on that. Up next, Fraxium versus the Hardy Boys. Now, is this me saying the Hardy Boys will officially come back to WWE and not TNA? No. This is me kind of saying I think Fraxium will probably lose the championship, then re-win it again, and I want a young team in Fraxium for a rematch because they've had it on Worlds Collide. Was it Worlds Collide or was it, no, NXT Roadblock? Which one was it that NXT and TNA won against each other? I guess it's not Worlds Collide. It is Roadblock. So we have Fraxium versus the Hardy Boys one last time in WWE. And the Fraxium probably lose the match to give the Hardy Boys their title. I think it makes sense. I think I really like the idea of that. So I'm gonna keep probably saying this for a little bit. It's hard not to throw in people from AAA or TNA onto this WrestleMania card, but because I saw they already uh, bought these and nothing happened at WrestleMania, it's hard to say for WrestleMania if there's gonna be some of these matches that will happen. Next tag title is going to be Lucha Bros versus New Day versus Mercy Machine Guns versus Usos. So Jay and Jimmy, I think, will re-team up to be the Usos. An over tag team. Now, it's hard to say if they would lose this or if they wouldn't get this. Maybe what it is that the Usos win the tag titles in the future. I just think I want legendary tag teams in all of wrestling, period, to go against each other. And to me, that is Lucha Bros versus New Day versus Mercy Machine Guns versus the Usos. And so this is what I will nonstop be booking because it's just legendary tag teams going against each other. This won't happen. I really don't think this will happen. I kind of want a Usos as champions versus New Day. And they're the Raw. That's what I kind of want, where we have the babyface Usos versus the heel New Day. It makes a lot of sense. But throw in Lucha Bros and Mercy Machine Guns. You have legendary tag teams that have been around all the wrestling globes. Up next, we have Rhea Ripley champion versus Stephanie Vaquer. Now, I am saying that this is how I kind of see it, and maybe they go a different way, which this kind of contradicts what I just did for my Dethroned Championships video, but that's okay because I'm going to hedge my bets. I think what they're going to do is give Rhea Ripley this title either before or after or during Perth. I think what's going to happen is that Rhea Ripley is going to win this championship from Naomi. I think she holds on to it for a while. And then I think ultimately Stephanie wins the Royal Rumble or she wins Elimination Chamber and she goes after Rhea Ripley. I think they've hinted at it. I think it's a huge matchup. I think this is just one of, if not the biggest matchup they could have on the Raw side of things right now. It makes so much sense, and I think you could put over Stephanie in insane ways if this happens. So I'm going Stephanie. Up next, I think it's the other women's side of things, which is Bianca Belair as champion versus Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Now, here's the thing. I didn't say which title is which because, to be completely honest with you, this one's a little difficult. I think more than likely Jade Cargill would still be champion at SummerSlam. Maybe she loses to Bianca, and that's how they set up this triple threat, like how they did last year where Bianca's the champion. She goes against Jade Cargill and Naomi gets herself intertwined, and it's a triple threat between the three. Maybe they do this before, but I could see a Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair. I kind of want to say I actually want to say Bianca Belair champion versus Jade Cargill just by itself. Naomi going for maybe a mid-card title. I don't want that though. I want her to still be involved in the top tier titles. So that's why I have this triple threat happening, and I really like to see this triple threat happen. I think they could put some magic. They could put some magic on because there's beef. There's year-long of history. And I would really, and I mean really, like to see this. And I think it could be Jade wins the title off Bianca. And then Bianca, Jade, and Naomi go. And we have a heel Jade that turned on her because of a maybe friendly matchup that they had with the title. So we'll see. But I really do believe that this is probably the match or somewhat of a match that's going to come out. Up next, I think we're talking about, is that all the women? That's all the women championship. I think we're now looking at the other card. So, I have versus. That's nice. I think Jacob Fatu is still going to be champion and the U.S. champion by this time. I think he's going to hold on to it for a long time to really be the dominant U.S. champion that we need. But I want dominant people go after him. I would be interested to see if they do Jacob Fatu versus Braun Breaker after the news that came out that they said that it's going to be the two people for the future. I kind of just don't know what to do with Braun Breaker if it's not going after Seth Rollins and it's not going after Roman. Hint, hint. So I don't have him. I have him going against the U.S. title to win singles gold. And I just want to go against Jacob Fatu, to be honest with you. The feud I most likely see, and I'm mentioning this for the future when I think it could happen, is Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre. They've hinted at it so much. Drew McIntyre needs gold to be the U.S. gold to be Grand Slam champ. I just think that is the feud and the person that should dethrone a Jacob Fatu, because Drew McIntyre is so over. I think is excellent. I think one of the best, if not top 5 in the company right now. Like, getting Jacob Fatu to lose to a Drew McIntyre will do wonders for Jacob Fatu more than not. I mean, to be honest with you, I think that's what we see. Is it going to happen in 2025? Is it going to happen at WrestleMania? I just think that's a WrestleMania match. Is Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre, to be honest with you. Up next, we have Ilya Dragunov, champion, versus Karrion Kross versus Sheamus. So I think Ilya Dragunov will either win off of a Finn Balor or will win off of a Dominic Mysterio, whoever wins, whoever has the IC title. I think that Ilya Dragunov will go against either a Karrion Kross or go against a Sheamus at WrestleMania. Maybe I'm throwing Sheamus in here because it's really just Grand Slam or nothing, and that he kind of needs to just keep trying to push for it. But I have Karrion Kross in here because, and this could be the prediction, I think he re-signs with WWE, and I think honestly they're waiting to give him title matches and everything till he re-signs, and then once he re-signs, I think it will be more than likely Karrion Kross to go against Ilya Dragunov and Sheamus, and Karrion Kross at WrestleMania will win. And I think that's where we're going to, and I think that's the most likely scenario we're at. And I could really see Karrion Kross winning gold at WrestleMania. I really do. But it's just hard to predict because his contract ends in August. After August, I'll start predicting more that he'll win gold if he resigns. Up next, we have Seth Rollins, champion, versus Roman Reigns. Now, this is the match that I think is more likely to happen, at least just Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, because, to be honest with you, or at WrestleMania, to be honest with you, I think it was a SummerSlam match. I really do. And I think more than likely, Seth Rollins will cash in before WrestleMania or at WrestleMania. And it will be Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins versus Sami Zayn. I think that's the likely matches. Today, it's going to be Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. I have some others that are shockers maybe for the future, but today it's Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. I just think this is the match. I think it makes too much sense. And I like Seth Rollins' chances as champion to go against a Roman Reigns and to really have it. This is who I'm going for. I know it's maybe not the best prediction, but it's what I think makes the most sense. And I could just see a Roman winning either in Saudi or the Elimination Chamber, and you have the Seth versus Roman match finally, with Roman or Seth winning finally the World Heavyweight title. With Roman having the World Heavyweight title, lineage is great. I could see that. Hard to say he want to go for Undisputed title. Maybe Seth cashes in on John Cena, and then that's actually how it goes. And the championship is, or on Cody, and the championship is Undisputed title he gets. We'll see. Up next, though, I ultimately think it's going to be Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk versus Randy Orton right now. Now, this is one hell of a prediction. I just am debating on, is it going to be Cody Rhodes versus Randy? Is it going to be Cody Rhodes versus Punk? Today, it's a hot take. I don't have anything for Randy Orton if he doesn't go and do this, to be honest with you. Got to be fully honest with you. I don't see Seth versus Randy. I don't see Roman versus Randy. I see Cody Rhodes versus Randy or Punk versus Cody Rhodes. Maybe I could have thrown stuff around. This is what I probably should have done. It should have been like Punk versus Seth, and then it should have been like Roman versus Braun Breaker. That's probably it. But I just got to be honest with you, man. Punk and Randy have had promos, and they've talked, and they've said that, one day we know it's going to happen. What a triple threat this would be, right? You have the tweener in Randy. You probably could have a heel Cody Rhodes, and then you could have a babyface CM Punk, and maybe this is where Punk wins the Undisputed title. Maybe it's Randy that wins it. I just want a triple threat that looks insane and has legends involved, and I think this is the best possibility. I think you have Punk, you have Randy, Cody Rhodes. Who wouldn't want a triple threat like this? Now, to get there, it's a little hard to say. I could see, Punk winning Chamber, Randy winning Chamber. Maybe Cody doesn't want this. Maybe There could be something where Randy was guaranteed a match before, never got the match because Cody Rhodes injured him, or Randy does what he does and RKO's everybody and gets himself inserted into the match. It could be just something like that. I just ultimately want this to happen. I just want this to happen. I want a triple threat to happen. And recently, WWE has been cooking on triple threats. Gotta be honest with you. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.